Hi. Hey, welcome to Above Life Channel. The purpose here is to inspire your spirit and to fill you with hope. All right, so let's do a sound check to make sure that we're live and things are going well here. Hi, it'll give you guys a chance to kind of pop into. This is live streaming. We have a live stream every week on Monday or Tuesday. Today is Tuesday and it's lunchtime because I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about that as we start. Okay. Okay. Now that we know that our sound is good. All right. So, welcome to this new week. Today, we're going to talk about timelines and understanding timelines. It has come to my attention that timelines are really fucked up. And it's not just because of what's going on globally with the wars, with politics, domestically in the United States or abroad in other places as well, or whatever your thing is, right? That you're aware of. Okay. This like chaotic, uncertain, kind of moving, kind of which used to feel kind of steady, but now everything's kind of moving and a little wobbly. Yeah, there's a lot to do with timelines. And I'm going to talk about that just a bit today. Starting with a little story share. So, yesterday, the reason why I did not do a channeling video or a weekly video yesterday was because I actually did a little trip to my ancestry home. So, many of you know, I'm from Minnesota and I have relatives up in kind of central northernish Minnesota. Probably I'd say central north. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but about 3 hours from my house. So I went up there. That is a little town that my great grandma and grandpa lived in that I remember going up to when I was a kid. Remember, I'm 50. So I remember going up there when I was like third grade, fourth grade, that kind of thing. And you've heard me talk about this before. This is my great grandma and grandpa. The grandma that made the cookie or made the donuts, she made homemade donuts, like old fashioned homemade donuts. Yes, she made homemade. She always smelled like donuts. And she was my dad's mom's mom. So my grandma on my dad's side, his mother. So I am named after her. My middle name is her name. And so I just kind of feel this kinship or connection. So I wanted to explore the ancestral connections and feeling into this and this new awareness of my life and humanity after my whole experience last fall. I thought, I've never really been interested in ancestry. And I'm like, because I thought mine was maybe boring. And so I started doing a little bit of research in this program that I'm starting to work on. And this priestess program that I'm in, it's an incredible experience already, just starting it out here. It's about a 6-month program. So you might kind of feel some of this energy shift in me. A really great, really supportive, nurturing, very core energy that I need to kind of revamp myself. And so part of that, I just was really ignited to go explore some ancestry. So of course I start with my grandma that I'm named after, my great grandma. And you've heard me talk about this before that if you've been around here for a while, that when I grew up going out to great grandma and grandpa Peterson's house, we get to see their house in town, but we drove by the old farmhouse that they lived in when my grandma was a little girl. It was my grandma and my grandpa, or my grandma and her her brother. They're both in the afterlife now. My grandma just died last year. She was 97, 96 or 97 last year. And so we would drive by there. In fact, I have pictures of the old homestead and stuff. It's very interesting from years ago. And I used to when we would go to their house in town, there was like a little alley, like a gravel alley, and then an old dirt road, and then there's a cemetery that my great grandpa was the caretaker for. So he'd mow the lawn there and take care of grandpa. Grandpa had trophies he took care of. So I always called them trophies, the beautiful monuments, right? So when my dad passed away, there was a whole bunch of stuff around my dad's death that was so unexpected, and he died like so that time, and I was pregnant with my second child, and there was just so much going on that we didn't bury my dad. We my mom was like, we there couldn't be that decision made at the time. Okay, there's just too much going on. And so when my mom then was ready to move out of the house and into a downsize into a townhouse, she kind of had this moment where she was really like, "Oh my god, I cannot move your dad. Your dad can't move with me to the new house," like, because he had been cremated and his ashes were in the buffet cabinet. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I am kidding. I'm not kidding. Okay, so I being the oldest of 3, was like, "Okay, I'll take care of it." So I made the arrangements for my dad to be buried in the cemetery where grandpa's trophies were, great grandpa, his grandpa. And so he is buried there with the Peterson family. And so I had this feeling as I've been reconnecting with my own roots and being connected in body to this lifetime and to this timeline in this life, like me, born Bridget Selena. Yes, Selena is the middle name. Isn't that beautiful? I know it's so beautiful. It's also my daughter's middle name, but it's spelled C-E, not S. So it's really, really unique, isn't it? And so it's just so beautiful. I've always, always, always loved my middle name. And so in this priestessing work that I'm just starting into now again and embarking into this journey, the 6 months journey, and which some would call just a program, right? It's very intimate, very small group of people. And it's so earthen. The energy is so earth, like stakes in the ground. Put your tarp, make sure your tarp is tied in, just really strong, supported earth, just earth. And I can't tell you how much that is impacting me. And I'm not usually like an earthy, I mean, I love I like nature, but I don't like bugs. Like I am this is gonna be a long one, I think, you guys. Just settle in. Maybe get some coffee, refreshing your cup. I am the blood type that the bugs love, that the mosquitoes just love, like, they feast on me. They're like, "Ooh, here she comes. Ooh, ah." I bring them great pleasure, and so I'm not like, I have to, like, tons of bug spray and all that kinda stuff. So, I mean, do I go for nature walks? Yes. Do I spend great deals of time out in nature? Also, no. Would I like to do more of that? Yes. I like to be by the water, and I like to be in the yard and all that kind of stuff. So this time of year is really beautiful. Do you see how the sun is going in and out behind the clouds? Isn't that crazy? The light on this video is because the sun is coming in both windows and it's going behind the clouds and coming out. And it's helping to create some ambiance, just so you know, natural. As I'm talking about nature, the solar energy is one of those. Oh, yes, it is, just like the lunar energy and the moon. So, I'm feeling like there is this opportunity for not just me, but for you, okay? Us here on Above Life Channel as empathic people to really recognize that this earth vibe energy stuff, it's a thing, okay? It's not just for people that wear Birkenstocks or grow their own food, okay? And other things, right? It's not just that, okay? We're not talking hippies here. We're talking necessity for humanity. This is where the timeline energy comes in. Do you understand me? This is where I'm talking about it. So I needed to go back to the land where I remember playing on as a child in a time where it was like going back in old timeyville, where everybody knew everybody and everybody was freaking Lutheran in the city, I think. And if they were Catholics there, we didn't know about them because everybody was Swedes. And it turns out, interesting tidbit for my ancestral lineage, only on my great grandfather, Albert's side, Albert Henning, thank you very much. He His parents came from Sweden, and I actually have the exact town that they came from and the exact place that his parents were married. So my great-great-grandparents came from Sweden on my dad's father's side. Shocker. I know it's so hard to tell that I might be Norwegian, isn't it? Like, I mean, we don't wanna be stereotypical, but hello. Yes. Yeah, sure, you betcha. Okay. Oh, my ancestors are rolling over in their graves. Okay. So I make this trip. It's like 3 hours long. And instead of like listening to audiobooks and doing the whole thing and talking the whole time to friends on the phone, I just am present and I'm watching the land and I'm looking at the trees and I'm watching the wind and I'm driving on this highway and I'm remembering how we used to count the 10 towns until we got to up home. That's what my grandma called it. We're going up home for the 80th birthday party for my great grandpa, for their wedding anniversary, for the exciting things that were happening, and I mean, I remember those things. I remember. And one of my sweetest memories really is playing in the cemetery. There was no no fence to keep anybody out. There was no it was just it looked like a park. It was just so peaceful, and I loved it. I loved it. And I wanted to go up there, and I thought I would bring, when I was doing the ancestral research, just briefly, I didn't do tons. I was looking for the origins of my middle name. I didn't find them yet. But I did find something interesting on my grandma's side that her maiden name, Bjorkland, or Bjorkland? I'm gonna say it Bjorkland, it's probably not how you say it, um, was it actually means birch grove. And I have talked about the birch trees for a long time during the Celtic wisdom that I've been working on the last couple of years. The Celtic tree wisdom and the energy of the Ogham that came. It's a divination tool. It's like a card reading thing, but it's with actual sticks, staves, samples of trees. And it's a beautiful language and a beautiful, it's just like using a card deck. It's just gorgeous. I have 2 different sizes. I have a regular size one and I have a tiny little travel one that I bring with me that actually came from the British Isles. I ordered them, from someone from there and they were made. So I was able to it's just beautiful. I love it. But the birch tree means beginning, and last year, that was my tree for the year. I had one, and it meant like a rebirth or a new beginning for me, a fresh start, and I've always loved the birch trees. We had them at my house growing up, and so I decided that when I was rebranding my business, I would use that as my last name. And so, I haven't rolled that out. I haven't actually implemented that because a lot of things happened while that was in well, I had a lot of things in the works unfolding. Everything came to a grinding halt when I had my open heart surgery. So, but I just thought, wow, maybe that's what I needed to know about that. So I went up to this tiny little town and it was a cold day and I'd only been there 2 other times before in the last 20 years. And I brought some tools, some gardening tools to clean off my dad's grave because it was flat against it's just like a little flat headstone, and it, was covered over by growth, right? And it wasn't horrible, but it was enough where I wanted to, like, make it nice and neat, and so I did that, and I wasn't there very long, and not even 10 minutes, and somebody came rolling up, checking me out, and I knew because, like, a couple people came driving by on this road that nobody's on, like, "Who's that?" Kinda thing, and I'm sure I stuck out like a sore thumb, and I proudly said who I was, and I extended my hand, and I said, "I'm a Peterson." And I am like, "My grandmother, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Oh, so and so, and this, and na, 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 na," and we're talking, and it was fine. But I'm like, "Dude, leave so I can have some time." And he said, "Well, I'm gonna cut some tree branches over here." And I'm like, "Okay, dude, I'm not gonna like steal anything. There ain't nothing worth stealing here anyway." But I'm like, "Okay." And I just sat there at the grave and just kind of cleared it off or whatever. And so and then I left. And when I rolled up, by the way, in my psychic minivan, Betty, I rolled up and I parked, and it's not a very big cemetery. It's not even, I don't know, maybe 5 acres. I mean, it's probably not even that big. No, it's probably not. Maybe 3? No, I don't know. It's not that big, you guys, like 3 to 5 acres maybe. And I rolled up and I was like, "Oh, I wonder where I have to look for the monument that says Peterson." So I'm like, I have to look for that, and there's, like, 3 of them or 4 of them or something, the big ones, like the family ones, and literally in line, I should post this picture, maybe I will on Facebook or on TikTok. The line of the wheel was right in line with my dad's grave. I'm not kidding. I'm like, "Oh my god, really? Okay, okay." I'm so psychic, or just lucky. I was like, "Okay." Right, it was right there. It was, like, right there. It couldn't get any closer unless I drove right up on top of it. I was like, "Oh gosh." So, I spent a little time in the town and took some pictures, and it got me really feeling into this energy of timelines and how things do change. Nostalgically, it's not frozen in time, this town. It's not. It's slowly dying off. And it, among the other 9 towns that I drove by on my way there, were in different states of growth or sustaining, at least maybe keeping their head above water. This one, it was sad. In fact, I drove by the church that I remember going to all these events at, and I I mean, I was the punch server, me and Shannon, we were the punch servers at I think it was great grandma and grandpa's 50th or somethingeth. It had to be more than 50, I think. Maybe. I don't know, maybe not. Wedding anniversary. And so I remember this place so much and playing up on the top and there's like the little annex place, and oh my god, it was so cool, you guys. It's like you could go all the way up to where like this like little playroom was, like where the steeple is, and oh my god, it was just so cool. Very simple, just a very little box style church with a big steeple. And when I drove up to it, I could not believe the fact that it's obviously somebody's house or a business now. I'm like, how does a big, like a relatively good, decent sized small town church become like a place where there's like 6 cars just parked? There's like a Mustang sitting in the front, like you were going to go up the steps to the wedding, where there are many wedding pictures, I'm sure, and quite a few funerals, that there's like one of those car things that holds the cars up. like sitting there, a Mustang sitting there, right there. I'm like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, I'm like, what timeline am I in right now? Is this like some weird, am I making this up? Is this real? Like, I had to take pictures and then I realized what it was. Like, I had to drive around the block like 4 times, which probably didn't help me much because I'm sure people were like, who the heck is that? And I realized when I looked up and took a picture of just the beautiful steeple, right? Half of the cross was gone. It only has half a cross. So it almost looks like an OM actually. Half of the cross is gone. And I was like, well, that makes sense, I guess, like in a bad storm or something. But I'm like, such a stark contrast to the memory that I had of that place. And I really couldn't, I just couldn't believe it. And would have been better had I not gone, probably. But it was sad. Like, I didn't feel a despair or anything, I just felt a little bit of a sadness, like a letdown, like a, "Oh," disappointment. Oh, but the truth is things change, whether we want them to or not, they change, and the timeline that I was in was a totally different timeline than that actual building is in today, and I am in both. So understanding the fact that I was in 2 different timelines at the same time, I have not, in my recent recollection, had that experience ever, where I was so in a place in my physical body, taking in the scenery and having this other experience overlaid on top of it, side by side, feeling both of them at the exact same moment in time. And so you see, because of the multiple timelines that we do have access to, we are never really that far away from our loved ones or from that time frame that we choose to be connected to. So this is the kicker here. Choice. The awareness is one piece, but the choice is the secondary part that is essential. Because then you have the freedom of your own flexibility to be able to determine the timelines that you choose to be in and dabble in. This also goes for if you've had trauma in the past. And if you are in a state where you're constantly reliving the old childhood trauma and you're reliving it in current relationships that you have, it does mean that you are probably also living in part of, or part of you is utilizing that other timeline to make decisions in this timeline. And so this is where freedom can help you to release the baggage, the tremendous attachment that we have to the past. And one of the things I'm going to read you some of the things that something that came through this morning, because so I was tired because yesterday I had like a 14-hour day driving and bopping around, and I stopped and visited one of my kids because they were on the way, and it was a long day, right? But it was okay, it was totally fine. And today I'm like, "Oh, I'm tired, I'm tired." So I laid in bed for a while and I was doing the scroll on the TikToks and posting a few things here and there that I saw that I like. And I came across some political stuff because everybody's going to, it's going to be a thing. And it should be so that we can check ourselves, right? And ask ourselves, which timeline do we want to live in? Which timeline? 1950? Or 2024. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, really, 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 um, without giving too much commentary, truly the perspective is uncanny right now of the things that are happening and unfolding. Like, it doesn't make sense sometimes. You're like, What? Like, did I just wake up in the twilight zone?" And even with family and friends, and like you feel like you're having the same argument with your kids over and over and over again. Parents have felt like this for years, that they've been on multiple timelines with their children. Yes. Yes, we have, because you keep saying the same thing over and over. And it is it's a struggle, right? And so there was some political thing, and I was like, ooh, I'm like, ooh, that's a really oh, that's a good point. I was like, "Wow, that's a good point." I'm like, "Huh, interesting." And that was it. And then I thought, oh, my experience yesterday and this example today, just the simple example today, I'm like, "Oh, this is about how timelines work." The perspective. Where are you living in? Where are you attached to? Ah. I just was like, "Wow, I did not expect that. I did not expect this piece of information," and it's being processed right now. It's being processed through me. Like, I don't feel any sort of impactful way from yesterday. I just feel like this was something I needed to do for me and to see what comes of it, what came through for me. And I didn't expect anything to come through right in that moment. I had such an awareness of how my dad must have felt in the times that he lived in, because as I was sitting there scraping the overgrown brush off his grave in my cargo sweatpants and my Vans with my hair all pulled up and my rainbow earring in, I felt a tiny little speck of what he must have felt as a gay man. A tiny, tiny pause of a moment of a half of a breath, that's it. Just a tiny little bead of sweat kind of moment where I didn't feel safe in that space. I didn't. It felt completely foreign to me. I thought, "Oh my gosh, these people driving around in their little four-wheelers in the middle of the day, they should be at work and they're not." And I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" Like, I felt afraid. I'm like, "I don't belong here. I don't belong here." And you can take your pick as to how you think I might not belong there, because I'm a woman all by myself with no man, because I'm somebody from the city, or because I'm from a protected class. I don't know. I just know I did not feel good there. So, gave me perspective, and then after that, I saw the church with the cross half gone, and I thought, "Oh my God," quite literally, "what are we coming to?" It was almost apocalyptic, I am not kidding. It literally was worse than any Twilight Zone movie. It was odd. It was so odd, I just couldn't I was in shock. I was in shock. And yet the earth itself felt exactly the same. Like, with my feet on the earth, I'm like, "Oh, I know this place. I know it. My roots are here, in part." One set anyway, one root. So this morning I wrote, um, a little bit from my journal. I'm gonna share it with you because I think sometimes, most of the time when I write or I record, because when I was driving, I did also record some audios because I just channel, like, it just comes right out of me. I didn't feel as I have in the past. I didn't feel safe there. the church cross was broken in half, and there were cars on the grass and on the stairs as if it was going to go in, breaking down the doors. It was weird. It was surreal, like apocalyptic. I was disappointed, but this is change. This is change. And then I wrote a little bit about how the political video that I watched kind of came through for me, and that all of this stuff that's going to happen this year and that's showing up everywhere, like the stuff with William and Kate and in Britain and Prince Charles, and I'm like, stop focusing on everybody else and realign within ourselves. That's what the message is. You want to be able to utilize the timelines to your betterment, not to your detriment. And that means you've got to be aligned inside of yourself. Don't be pulled in other people's freakouts, chaos, stirring the pot. Let me start a fire over here so you're not paying attention to what I'm doing over here. Does that sound familiar? It's like tactics that businesses do in marketing, right? Like really shitty tactics that marketing, it's the same thing is happening as a society, as a world, and we're falling for it all over. So this is the response that came from me, inside of me. It says all of these things, the politics, the wars, what they're showing is important. It is to help us focus on ourselves, our magical, empowered selves. It's time to focus on our magic, our wisdom, and ourselves. And stop thinking about the past. Stop rehashing the past. That means everybody, including me. Okay? I'm talking to myself. Stop rehashing the past. Stop thinking about it. It's not helpful. It is the distraction. Somebody's going to steal your cupcake because you distracted. I mean, seriously, you're so focused on something that doesn't even matter, and me too included. So realign into the darkness. Realign into the darkness right now. Come into the darkness. It's not a scary place. It's spacious. It's quiet, and the darkness is even peaceful. You can hear yourself here, your wisdom. You can feel your own rhythm inside, echoing into the stillness to reassure you that you are alive. You are not alone. You are here with you. To focus on how you'd like to greet this day, be present in the darkness. Then rebuild, start fresh. It begins here in the grove inside. So there's a lot. This is really deep. It's profound. And what it means is what it means for you. Do not let anybody else, including me, tell you what you need to think, how you need to think, and what you need to do. You get to decide. You have the flexibility and the expression. If you can be in the presence of this timeline now, here, now, that's where you will make the most impact. If you will love yourself into this wholeness and not be distracted or taken out back to relive the trauma of that childhood experience, or to relive the trauma of that first divorce, or to remember being the odd one out on the the team, or missing the opportunity in the science fair, or being the employee that was not promoted, or grief. Don't let things manipulate and betray you energetically. Be in alignment within yourself. And when you are in this authentic state of being, then you can interact and engage with others. You will find others who will help amplify the light in that darkness. And when I'm talking about darkness, I am not talking about evil or badness. I'm talking about the lack of awareness, the lack of knowledge. Now, I know that energy is manipulated in ways that are not, that is nefarious, that is malice, that intentionally causes people to freak out. It's because, like, for example, like during a storm, when a storm is coming, the businesses will jump online and start marketing their product, that, their special flashlight at night or their special lighter, to help buy into the frenzy of the chaos and the fear so that they can get sales, so they can get money. Does it help you? It might. But the fact that you purchased it out of fear doesn't help you at all. So this isn't about fear. This is about recognizing that the darkness serves a purpose for you to be within your own alignment, to know yourself well, to not, if you can't see, sense and feel yourself. That's what energy is anyway. If you can't clearly see what the truth is, sense and feel what you know inside, in your gut, in your intuition, in your heart knowing. Release and relax the fence of fear, or the boundaries that are created by fear, or the group mob mentalities around, oh, we got to worry about this, and oh, we got to worry about that. I'm like, didn't we deal with that in the 70s? Like, I'm 50 and you guys handled that before I came along. Why are we talking about this again? Remind me why. Why? Now, maybe it's because people much older than me are in positions that maybe they shouldn't be, right? Maybe. Maybe the time has come for change. But change doesn't happen by us ignoring our power, right? Our magical power, our magical empowerment through our own awareness, through our own integrity. That's what you can do. So don't be sad about things that you can't do anything about. Focus on what you can, which is you here now in this timeline, and recognize you're on other timelines. Recognize when you're being sold something on TikTok, on Amazon, wherever, wherever, that it is being sold to you so that you can do something that somebody else wants. It's really not about you at all. And you don't need another pair of sweatpants. As much as I love them, I do not need any more cargo pants. Thank you very much, TikTok. I don't need a anxiety hoodie. Okay. That's just what we used to call in the 90s a heavy hoodie, a thicker one. Right? Shoes will not buy us happiness, but they will distract us from what's important, and they will put money in the pockets of people who we are not in alignment with. Whatever your alignment is, whatever your affiliations are, you're welcome to that. Yours doesn't hurt me, and mine doesn't hurt you in this space, in this. You and I talking right here and now in this space. I can't speak for everybody else, but I can tell you that I know that I'm going to do my best to be on this timeline. Mhm. And if I want to manifest something, I might step into the future in a positive and hopeful way. Or I might go deep into the earth and release something from the past because it is not helping me anymore. And how I do that, by the way, isn't to overthink about it 15 different ways and buy 5 different workbooks and dig into it in 20 years of therapy. It's a blender, blending up all these different things that I've tried and recognizing that it's me. I'm going to let this go today. I'm going to set it down today. And because I'm magic, I can do that. And then tomorrow, if it starts to sneak in again and I start to go, oh gosh, here comes that self-worth stuff. Oh God, here comes that self-sabotage. Oh, it's coming. Oh, it's coming again. Oh, I really need those shoes because then I'll feel more worthy. I'm not kidding. This is how it all works. We got to be conscious to what's going on and how we're affected. And then we got to say, I'm going to put down that worthiness piece because I know when I come back to my center, that that's not true for me. I am worthy. I don't suck. I might think I do, but I don't suck. So maybe I'll crawl into my dark hoodie in the darkness and I'll take some quiet time. I'm not going to hide, but I'm going to take some quiet time. This is just my hoodie from Target. And I'm going to cozy up. I'm going to spend some sweet time with myself. I might use some oils because that feels good when I'm in this timeline. That helps me, right? I might use my little dinger and ding my little singing bowl. I might use some cards. This one, the Keeper of the Wheel, came on St. Patty's Day from this card deck that I have. And I might, while I'm in this space, this me space of this alignment in my darkness and just quietly contemplating, letting things roll and flow, not holding on to anything too tightly, not trying to solve the world's problems or my own, because God knows I haven't done that for the last 50 years. It ain't going to happen today, probably. I grab my journal and I write in my journal. This one's gorgeous, isn't it? This one's the Tree of Life. This is the Peter Popper Press ones. Or this one. I like this one too. So there you are. You beautiful soul. You are such. I wish you could know how perfect your energy looks. That gorgeous yellow that shines from that solar plexus belly of yours. It does shine in the darkness. It does. And we will be here every week through the end of the year. So you can come back and we'll talk again. Maybe we'll practice some other things. Maybe I'll finally talk to you about holding space. Maybe we'll do some angel stuff. Who knows what's going to happen? But I can tell you, it will be hopeful, uplifting, and honest. Sometimes it might feel hard or like a struggle, but you won't be alone. You know that I believe in communication and connection. That's what we're doing here on Above Life Channel. Mm-hmm. And just maybe we're on a different timeline when we come in here. One that's safe. One that really is filled with acceptance and love for what is right here and now. For your healing. For your encouragement. I know that's why I'm here. Thank you so much for being here on Above Life Channel. If you are missing out on the celebrity channeling, don't worry. There are tons of folders that you can look on our playlists. to find your favorite celebrity channeling because I did that for a long time. I have done that for a long time as a psychic and a medium, as an intuitive life and energy coach. It is my honor to walk with you on this path. If you are interested in hanging out with me this week, I have plenty of spaces. My inspiring psychic experience only has 2 people in it, so it might just be a couple of us. How cool will that be? It's like an old school psychic reading. We do kind of stuff like this, but it's customized and you can ask questions. Yeah. I don't do celebrity channeling in there. I do like old school psychic readings because it's fun to do that every once in a while. I really do enjoy that. I might channel a little spirit guide, might get a little Kali Ma in there. It's hard to say who's going to pop in for a little conversation. We could get a little bit of a Archangel Michael. We could get some Raphael. We could get a Kuan Yin. We could get White Buffalo Calf Woman. We could get one of the Marys. I mean, you never really know. It depends on who's there in the group and what the need is. Yeah, energetically. So if you want to, you can join us. There will be a link below in my services here on this video or any other video. Just jump on there and you can click the Inspiring Psychic Experience. It's a group experience and you can join that. I think it's like $40. And depending upon how many people, we're usually there at least an hour. Maybe sometimes we're there longer, like 80 minutes, maybe 90, depends on how many people or what we get into talking about intuitively. So not everybody's guaranteed like a reading. It's not really intended to be like in lieu of a private session with me, but it's really this what unfolds for the group as a whole. So it's a healing experience. It's a dynamic experience. It's a question and answer, psychic reading stuff. It's fun. I really do enjoy it. Sometimes it can get deep and also uplifting. So consider the Inspiring Psychic Experience. Check out my other services as well in the descriptions of my videos below. And if you need to reach me, you can always send me an email at abovelifechannel@gmail.com. I want to say hello to the chat. Thank you for showing up live. Hey, Queen. Hi, Temple. Nice to see you. Hey, Northern California. I love Northern California. San Francisco. I've never seen the redwoods, though. Let me just tell you. Hi, Rebecca. Welcome. Hi, Nancy P. Hello, Dreamer. I don't know if I know you, but nice to see you. Yeah, I'm glad to see you all too. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you so very much. All right. I hope I've inspired your spirit today, filled you with some hope, and encouraged you to live your life. This is your life after all, and you get to live it. So please, just live it. Thanks for being here.